Hey everybody. All right, it took me for a while for my internet to load. So I wanted to get on here because I've noticed we've had a lot of people that have recently had surgery that have questions about, what to eat after surgery, how to progress, when you can start to have, more textures and kind of regular food again. And I thought this would be a good review. I did a similar post on our pre-op group. So, just if some of you saw that, but I wanted to do one here as well, just because I think it's good information. So obviously after your gastric sleeve, or gastric bypass, but specifically gastric sleeve, you need to do the month blended pureed foods. And that's really just to allow your stomach to heal. You have that long internal suture line after surgery, and it just really needs to just rest. However, after you get kind of to that 6 to 8 week mark, you can really start to have, regular food again and regular textures. However, there are some kind of common foods that just tend to be a struggle for people that kind of come up again and again and again. So I wanted to go through that to hopefully kind of help you. So first off, just your proteins, your dry, tough cuts of meat are always going to be more difficult. So if you think about like a chicken breast, a dry chicken breast, a pork chop, a dry steak or cube steak, something we grew up on that was, I always call it the bubble gum of beef, because you just chew and chew and chew and chew and it never gets tender. Other things like rubbery textures. So shrimp is a good example of this. Eggs that have been overcooked. These can be really problematic for some people. Now, none of these foods are like bad. None of these will, make you stretch your pouch, but they could make you feel really uncomfortable. They could kind of feel like they get stuck. But they're not likely to, actually damage the structure of your pouch in any way. It just feels terrible. So kind of keep that in mind. Other things like fruits, stringy foods like pineapple, the pulp, and like an orange, those kind of strings that hang down, that can be troublesome. Sometimes fruits that have a lot of seeds in them. So if you think about like a pomegranate that you basically only eat the seeds can be an issue for some people. Sometimes, raspberries or blackberries that are really seedy. Again, they're not bad for you. If you'd like them, go ahead and have them. It's just that they can be common problems for people. Other things like, so veggies, like stringy vegetables, same thing. Like celery tends to be a problem. Sometimes asparagus that's, pretty tough still. Raw broccoli, raw cauliflower, raw cabbage. Brussels sprouts, if they're roasted, usually do well. Just kind of remove that outer shell of those. Sometimes pea pods can be another one because of that stringiness of them. And then starches. So if you think about like your doughy carbohydrates, so like breads, rolls tend to be difficult, and anything that kind of absorbs water. So pasta and rice tend to be the biggest issues here for most people, just because they kind of expand or feel like they're expanding in your stomach. They're not going to cause you to stretch your pouch if you're just, have one bad occurrence, but it can feel really uncomfortable. So keep that in mind. Again, these foods aren't bad, but they do tend to be more troublesome than other foods. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to post this to the main page, so you can always comment and ask anything that you are curious about. I'm trying to think, there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, the other thing about this too, and I didn't post this on the last video I did on the pre-op page, but a lot of times people want to just try things, right? Like, I just want to try a bite of pizza, or I just want to have a few bites of pasta or whatever it is. And again, I don't want to, I'm not the food police. I'm not here to scold you, to send you to your room because you didn't follow whatever rules. However, I do think it's really important to kind of think about your pouch, especially those first 4 to 6 months when everything's so fresh and so new, and you're probably not getting in a ton of, protein. You're probably maybe just hitting your goal of 60 to 70 grams. You're probably not getting a lot of fiber. Maybe your fluid is still difficult to reach every day. So when you're kind of in that new period, really being careful and kind of thinking about your stomach like prime real estate, right? Like it is Manhattan, or it is the best lot on the ocean, right? Like it is an expensive piece of property, and you don't want to fill it with food that is not going to really serve you in other ways. So I don't mean to say that like a bite of pizza is going to harm you, because it's not, but it's taking up space where like a protein that's really going to give you, fuel that's going to help give your body what it needs to heal properly, to maintain your muscle mass. It's not giving you fiber to help you stay regular or to feed those good gut microbes that you have. So there are all these kinds of other reasons, not just because it's, high in calories or high in carbs or high in sugar or whatever it is, as to why I encourage you to, go for your lean proteins, to include more fruits and vegetables, to, if you do have a whole grain, or if you do have a starch, to include a whole grain, that kind of reasoning. Because again, that pouch is so fresh, it's so new, and it's so hard to get what your body really needs nutritionally, that you really want to think about it like that prime real estate, and that you want to maximize whatever you're putting in there. So I hope that kind of gives you a good visual as to why we do recommend what we do. And it's not just to kind of give you rules to follow, just to be mean, but there's